All right. Next up, we have James Lau, Marlon, Grandy, and Sasha Ries from ScreenLess.
All right. All right. Hello, everybody. My name is Sasha Ries. I'm CEO and co-founder of ScreenLess, an app that lets you lower your screen time by reminding you of what you care about. My two teammates, Marlon and James, will be joining me for the Q&A at the end. So you might know me from Mindful Earth or Dialed. These were past projects that we were working on in the past couple months, but we realized that we were chasing solutions without really having a defined problem for it. We learned from our mistakes, which is why we come to you today with a real problem and a real solution that we want to present. So as many of you might agree with me, we spend way too much time on our phones, with Americans averaging over 7 hours a day on their phone. On top of that, 40% of Americans want to lower their screen time, showing that clearly screen time is an issue for a lot of people. So to validate this problem, to figure out how people navigate screen time addiction, what their pain points are, and how people essentially motivate themselves to actually get off of their phones, we held 50 in-person, one-on-one interviews with people as our initial customer discovery. In our interviews, we asked people about their personal experiences and personal details about how they actually navigated these. Here are some quotes that we took from our conversations. The thought of something I would rather do motivates me to get off of Instagram. Sometimes it'll be a notification from Apple News. I'd want to be reading books, but instead do ungratifying things like watching YouTube in the awkward in-between times of the day. I would be scrolling on Instagram until something distracts me and I remember what I should be doing. And sometimes when I'm scrolling through Instagram, a reel will pop up that inspires me, like a reel about lifting. Then I want to go lift. Our big takeaway from these conversations was that when people want to get off of their phone, it's from some internal motivation. They have some internal epiphany that there's something they'd rather be doing, that there's something they should rather be doing. For a lot of the conversations we had, we realized people would be scrolling until they realized, I should be sleeping right now. I should be doing homework. I should be hanging out with my friends playing basketball. And currently in the market, there are some solutions trying to address this problem. We analyzed them and realized they fall into two general categories. The first category is apps that you set a screen time limit, essentially how much time you want to use on any apps that you're addicted to. And when you reach those limits, you're either met with some sort of barrier, a notification that tells you to get off, or you're just blocked out of the app. And the other category is to just block pickups. The moment you open an app, you're met with the same exact barrier. A little about my own experience. So as many of you might be in the same boat as me, I use Instagram way too much. And as advertised, I wanted to get one of these apps and reduce my Instagram usage. But current solutions fell short, and that wasn't really the reality for me. We dug deeper to find out why. We wanted to confirm whether this is an issue for other people as well, or whether I was the only one that had that problem. Using AppBot, a service that's essentially a search engine for App Store reviews, we were able to scrape over 500 reviews of the top screen time reducing apps out there. And we found some recurring themes. The first one was that people became desensitized to the notifications that pop up. They'd be generic or repetitive, and people would just ignore them. And the other was that people would find workarounds to blockers. They would delete the app, they would go turn the setting off in whatever screen time reducing app they have. And this is essentially like a parent telling you to get off of your phone. You're either going to push back or you're just going to ignore them. Instead of what we found in our customer discovery was that when people decide to get off their phone, it's because they themselves want to for some personal reason. And which brings us to our solution, an app that works with users, not against them, so they can internally motivate themselves to reduce their screen time and make the most of every day. To facilitate this inner epiphany that I mentioned, users need personalized reminders. It has to be personal to them, which is why when you first get on the app, you fill out a questionnaire on what you value, care about, and most importantly, what you wish you had more time to do. We then collect this data, and then you set a time limit. Say for me, I'd set a 30-minute time limit on Instagram use. When I'm on the app, when I'm on Instagram for 30 minutes, so then when I'm on Instagram for over 30 minutes and I hit my limit, I'll be met with this notification. Essentially, it's a personalized message based on what the user puts in the questionnaire, and it's directly tailored to the user's why. this reminds them of why they want to get off of Instagram for any purpose, and it resonates with them on a personal level, helping to stimulate and facilitate that self-motivation. For our business model, we will have a freemium business model where you get the regulations we just mentioned for one app, you have AI personalized messages, as we explained, and you can be part of a community where you can see other people's goals, motivate each other, gamification, where you'll have streaks and challenges, and data analytics, so you could track your app usage, your app use patterns, and just general data on it. To actually monetize this, we will have a pro version for $40 a year, where you have all these same features for unlimited apps. And the reason we chose this business model is because the top competitors use it, and clearly it is profitable. To analyze the market, we first looked at all Americans with iPhones. We looked at the fact that 40% of them want to cut down their screen time, and assuming a $40 a year subscription plan, this put us at a $2.2 billion total addressable market. For the serviceable addressable market, we focused on Gen Z and millennials, as research shows that they are the most addicted to iPhones and phones in general, and the most likely to want to reduce their screen time, which put us at a $1.2 billion market. And then assuming we can get a 1% market penetration based on our advertising campaigns, we will get an $11.8 million serviceable obtainable market. So how do we fit in the competitor landscape? All these top competitors here take slightly different approaches to reducing screen time, but they're all tools for regulating your screen time. We think it's really important that to increase mindfulness when users go on any social media or whatever apps they might be addicted to, so that they're aware of why they're on the app and they're aware of what else they could possibly be doing, which differentiates us already from a few competitors. We think a simple user interface, user experience is really important, as in our busy lives, you don't want to go on an app and just feel overwhelmed by all the stuff going on. A situation we encountered with Opal, one of our top competitors, there's just so much on the app, it was really hard to navigate. And finally, and most importantly, we want users to be internally motivated for whatever reason, when they get off the app. We want to work with users, not against them, by reminding them of their personal why, based on what they put in the questionnaire. For our go-to-market strategy, after discussions with our mentors and doing online research, we found that App Store search engine optimization is one of the most important things for successfully launching an app. On top of that, our research also showed that Gen Z and millennials are the biggest users of social media, specifically TikTok and Instagram, I myself included. And we would want to have ad campaigns that target that are facilitated on these social media sites, so that users, as they're scrolling through, say, Instagram or TikTok, they'll hit our ad. The ad will show some emotionally resonant scene of some activity they could rather be doing, and it would emulate this internal epiphany that I kind of mentioned. And then at the end of that, it would connect back to our app and say this could be a consistent source for you to get off of your apps and make the most of your day. Some of our next steps: we plan to continue doing customer discovery, continue doing our one-on-one interviews after this pitch. We plan to work on this as our startup no matter what after we graduate, but if we get this $25,000 grant, we plan to go full-time as soon as the summer, with $8,000 allocated for living expenses and cost of rent, during which we plan to build a minimum viable product, which we would need $5,000 to build and design the user interface. After that, later in the summer, we plan to start beta testing, which we will need $5,000 to allocate fund to run the studies and incentivize participation. Based on that, we will iterate our prototype until our product really works for people, which we then plan to apply to an accelerator. Using the funds from the accelerator, an additional $5,000 for marketing, we plan to actually release our official product and launch an app. Based on how much user traction we get and how well it goes, we plan to apply for a seed round and really expand. And finally, we'll need $2,000 for legal and administrative documents. On top of our team of dedicated Colby College students, we've assembled a network of mentors and advisors that have built ventures from the ground up that can give us expertise in areas where we lack it. And finally, life's most precious moments are often missed by those who are too busy staring at a screen. So we invite you with ScreenLess to make the most of life's moments. Thank you.